said it's not a talk radio answer. A talk radio answer is, hell yeah, I'm giving the money to Austin Reaves. Tell LeBron to hit the bricks.
Sedano, can I name off guys that are not under contract for next year?
Oh, that'll be
okay. And you tell me whether they
sure.
bring them back and for how much.
But even if they're under contract, they could be traded.
Yeah, sure. I'll just name a bunch of guys. You tell me if they should come back,
right?
Yeah,
and how much
should or should not.
Right. So we'll leave the top guys up for the end of it. But a guy, let's start with Luke Kennard. So he's not under contract this year. You say yes for how much?
I'd bring him back.
Yeah, I like him.
For like the same amount, $11 million, $12 million?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay, yes. Maxi Kleba is not under contract.
I'd say he's expendable.
I mean, if you brought him back on a veteran's minimum, like fine, I guess.
But what does he really help? I mean, what is his contribution?
I mean, Luka and him have played together a lot. So
if you hire a guy for $12 million because he played with Luka at some point, okay,
he's not getting $12 million though. He's going to get like a veteran's minimum,
which would be how much?
Probably like 2.5.
Okay, well that's pennies in the NBA. So okay, fine, but he doesn't really do much for you.
Yeah, he was $11 million this year. So if he's
right, but that's not happening.
Yeah,
he's
that's
not getting $11 million.
Okay.
Okay, so Marcus Smart. He has an option for 5.3.
He's going to opt out of that.
Yeah, he can make more money than that.
So you bring him back?
I would like to.
Sure.
I'd like to bring him back. I mean,
I'd bring him back in the 12 million-ish range. Yeah.
Okay, give him a little bit of a bump.
I think this team was significantly different without him. Even with the top 3 stars, like he brings something defensively, attitude-wise, toughness-wise. I like Marcus Smart. I like what he brings.
I agree. I just think I don't pay him a ton because I still worry about, and I'd be very careful with the contract and the way it's framed because he has become injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
Dalton Connect is on a team option $4 million.
See you later.
Yeah.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Don't have much need for him.
Jackson Hayes not under contract.
I would bring Jackson Hayes back on a small contract. Sure.
But I don't think JJ would he?
I think he would. I think he's turned on in a good way on Jackson.
I would say that Jackson Hayes last season, when he couldn't get off the bench, remember the game that they started Maxi Kleba?
Mm-hmm.
I would say at that point, that was when Jackson Hayes probably should have wanted to leave. But I will give this kid a lot of credit. It takes guts to go back to a team where you were embarrassed and benched and couldn't get off the bench when you were the starter, and you're not going to be the starter, and you're still going to be a contributor, and you're going to have a good team attitude. I thought Jackson Hayes proved to be a great team guy this year.
Okay,
when most guys just have too big of egos to do that.
How about Jared Vanderbilt, $12 million? He's under contract.
Nope.
Well, last night ended that.
Yeah.
Now, and seriously, like if last night didn't happen, I still think, George, we'd probably be out on Vanderbilt.
No, they'd be out on him anyway.
But I think last night sealed his fate. That if you are a guy that's going to break up a fight between your coach and your star player, that makes you a really great, valuable teammate. But when everybody's hurt and everybody's out, and the coach is barking at you that you're not getting it done, and you're going to go back at the coach, and then, again, I don't know if he left the bench area or if he was kicked off the bench. My gut tells me he left. That is some unprofessional crapola, man.
All right, now it's starting to get a little bit tough. So Rui Hachimura is not under contract. He made 18.2 this year. So that means if you're going to bring him back, it's going to go up. Gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
And by the way, I like Rui, but not – I mean, why would I want to spend $18 million on Rui when I think – I could spend $18 or $20 million and upgrade the position.
100%. I'm fully with you on that one. Okay, now the last two guys. Austin Reaves has a player option. Obviously, not going to pick that up. Do you bring him back for $40 to $50 million?
I mean, I think you may have to. You're hoping he takes less.
When you say less, let's just because we've talked about LeBron a lot this year and what LeBron might consider doing next year. And going from $50 million to blank. What do you think is a realistic number where Austin Reaves says, now, wait a second, let me think about this, okay? I can make $40 million from this team, or I could make blank with the Lakers. I can be in L.A., I can be with the franchise I know, I can play for the coach I like, I can be Batman's or Robin right next to Luka. What's a realistic number to say, you know what? The smart basketball business decision is to stay with the Lakers. What's that number, George? Contemplate. Think about it. Marinate it. Breathe on it.
Do you call that a sigh, Cappy?
It's a sigh. It's a sigh. It's
no, it's a think.
It's a thing.
But I want to say this. There's a big difference between a nose sigh, which that is what you just heard, versus a mouth sigh. A mouth sigh, right?
There is a difference.
Right, George? Yes.
Yeah. So if his contract is the $240 million variety
over 4 years,
for 5 years.
5 years.
It starts at like 41 and change. But let's just call it 42 to keep a round number.
Okay.
42, I'd hope he would take like 37 at least.
Oh, my number was going to be less.
What's your number?
35 to 37, I would hope he would take, but I don't believe he's going to leave money on the table because he bet on himself.
I was going to say 30 million. I was going to actually give myself a 25% hometown discount, and I was going to say 30 million. And George, but
yeah,
again,
I think that's unrealistic.
But I guess I got to really think to myself, if I'm in Austin Reaves' shoes, right, and I could make 35 million with the Lakers, or I could make, let's just call it 40 million with name your team. I mean, what's a real? He's not going to go to Portland. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to go to some team where A, he's the number one, and B, he's going to a place where he got to carry everybody, and C, they haven't been very good. He's got to know, and his agents have to know, he's a really nice number two. He's not somebody's number one. So I would, if I were Austin Reaves.
Yeah, but they're just their job is to maximize money.
Right. And again, I would argue that if you're on the Lakers, you have much more earning potential off the floor than if you played for the Trailblazers and you were making more in base salary. So I would for me, the difference between 35 million and 42 million, and I know that 7 million is a crap ton of money for everybody else in the world, but if I'm an NBA player and I have the choice of playing for the Lakers for a discount or playing for, I don't know, the Nets for more money, I'll stay with the Lakers. And by the way, I know that probably shocks everybody that I would take a discount, but I would.
All right, it's the last one, Sedano. The biggest name of all, LeBron James.
I mean, I would bring him back at the right contract.
Yeah, what's the number?
I don't know what that number is for him, though. Like, I don't know if he's making, what, 50?
Yep.
52-6 this year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if LeBron was in that Austin, you know, in that same range I would want for Austin, I would consider it. You know what I mean? If, like, LeBron is under 40, like in that 35 to 37 range, I'd consider it.
All right.
Now you're looking at it, but so you have Luka at $49-50 million. Then
that's going to go up because the extension is going to kick in sooner rather than later. But for next year, right?
Yeah, it's $50 million for next year. So, but then you're talking about Austin Reaves for $35 million plus LeBron for $35 million. You're right. You're getting close.
Right,
to
you're
your
at 120
cap
some odd million.
Yeah, and that's right around your cap.
All right, but let's have this discussion. You ready? Now you have a choice.
Yeah, but you can go over for your own players. You have bird rights, so that gets a little more complicated than you're making it out to.
Right,
but bird rights or bird?
Bird.
Oh, I thought you said bird.
No, these are
good with the
rights.
bird rights.
No,
If we want to go
what's
back.
bird?
We have bird rights here.
We got to get bird
have
rights
bird
across the
rights,
street. Yeah.
But
bird rights.
But we're basically getting rid of everybody on the roster minus Luka, LeBron, and maybe Austin. So then you're looking at if there's nobody, if it's just Luka by himself, you're looking at having $70 million in cap.
But
space?
again, remember, so the salary cap next year will be $165 million. Okay, so you'd still have about 40 some odd million to play with, and that doesn't even count your exceptions and veteran minimums. So I mean, I'd have to do the math, but you'd have some wiggle room if both those guys took a discount, but I don't see that happening.
Well, let me ask you this, guys. Here, let everybody answer this question. We've just gone through this roster, and there's only a couple of pieces that we all would like to have back. I'm sure the Lakers feel probably very similar.
Yes.
But now let's just say it comes down to this. You got to make a decision. It's $40 million for Austin Reaves, or it's $40 million for LeBron, and I'm just saying it in this way. It's not both. It's one or the other. Now, if you were faced with the one or the other decision, and it's the numbers are the same, $40 million for LeBron, $40 million for Austin Reaves, pick which one you want to keep because you can't keep them both.
Right. This is our hypothetical, Brian. Cappy created. Let's just say they take LeBron would come down to $40 million. Austin would take a little bit of a haircut to $40 million. You could only pick one for next year. I think the answer is obvious to me. It's Austin, just based on age alone. And pairing him with Luka and having, that style of player next to Luka has had some success if you can build the rest of the roster around it. I mean, just based on those aspects of it, I think it's fairly simple. See, Cappy, I didn't pick LeBron.
I think this is probably going to shock you guys, but, I'm kind of torn also in this. I go with Austin Reaves for his youth, of course. LeBron for the
But
experience.
you're going to have to sign him to a 5-year deal. Whereas LeBron, it's just a 1-year deal.
Yeah, it really just comes. What we were talking about earlier today, Brian, was if we look at the Lakers roster right now, based on what you and I were standing there watching last night, you don't have Luka, your 1, Austin, your 2, LeBron, your 3, or Marcus Smart, your 4. So what are you left with? You're left with guys 5 through 14. And JJ was saying last night after the game, I got to find 9 guys who are going to buy in and we're going to give everything they've got and sell out for their team. And he didn't have that last night. And we saw, you and I were standing there last night talking about this Jared Vanderbilt situation. George came on the air this morning saying this is who DeAndre Ayton is, a guy when you need him to step up, he can't or won't. The point is that we looked at the roster earlier today, George and I, and we're like, this guy gone, this guy gone, this guy gone. All right, Luke Kennard, yeah, we like him. Jackson Hayes, probably pretty good athletic role player, good pick and roll guy, gets to the basket. But otherwise, we're like getting rid of everybody. And then it got down to you've got Austin Reaves and LeBron. And is LeBron going to take less? Would Austin Reaves consider taking a little bit less? But if you only had $40 million and it was like pick one, it's one or the other. Brian Windhorst, who do you pick?
So you're asking a good talk radio question. Do you want a talk radio answer or do you want a podcast answer?
I want a podcast answer because we're in the longer form format right now.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have to necessarily choose that way. Number one, LeBron's got to come down below $40 million. So let's have a lesson in something that Laker fans are going to learn about in a couple of months called a cap hold. Okay? When a player comes off of let's say a player's contract ends, like Austin Reaves' contract ends. Let's just, for the sake of argument, for the sake of making it easy to understand, let's just say that the salary cap is $100 million. Everybody can do math very easily there. Let's say the player is making $10 million, okay, and his contract expires. You would say normal, simple math. Well, you have $10 million of cap space. You do not. Because a player has what is known as a cap hold. I could go on for an hour as to why this is. Just trust me, okay? And that cap hold sits on your books until you either sign the player or say, we don't want you anymore. We're taking away your rights. You're gone. You're gone. We can't even re-sign you. You're gone. And that is important to understand when it comes to Austin Reaves, and here is why. Most times, a cap hold is a bad thing because it means that you can't spend money that you think is cap space because you've got to deal with that player. And the reason the cap hold exists, people know that to re-sign your own player, you can go over the salary cap. But you can't spend all of your money and then re-sign your player. Your player sits on your book in the form of a cap hold. The thing about Austin is his cap hold is low. His cap hold is going to be lower than his salary. Right. So for the purposes of thinking about how much the Lakers have to spend next year, Austin Reaves will cost the Lakers $21 million. That's not going to be his salary. But when you compute how much cap space the Lakers have, Austin Reaves' cap hold is $21 million. You can sign him for up to $50 million, but he is only going to count as you figure out how much your salary is going to be for $21 million. And that is very, 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 very important.
5 varies.
Okay, because you're going to be able to spend your cap money, and as long as you save $21 million, you can sign Austin to 40. Now, the thing about it is in the apron era and stuff like that, you really cannot afford to big overpay a player because you run into, now you're in the second apron or whatever, but the Lakers will actually have more cap space than it appears because Austin Reaves' cap hold is so low. However, LeBron's cap hold is enormous. LeBron's cap hold is like 60 or 65 million.
Right.
Okay? So the Lakers have to deal with LeBron first. And this is going to be kind of difficult because is LeBron going to know on June 15th what he's going to do for next year? Okay, let's say he wants to play. How much are you going to play for? Because the Lakers either have to sign LeBron to a new contract or renounce his rights to get rid of that $65 million. They've either got to have LeBron, what are you going to play for next year? You're going to play for 30? Okay, good. You've got 30. Now your cap hold. Now you're going to be for 30. Now we've got that other 35 to do stuff with. LeBron, you don't know what you're going to do next year? We got to sign these players. I'm sorry, LeBron. We're going to have to renounce your rights. Good luck to you. Now his cap holds 0, but they can't then go over the cap to re-sign him.
Can they renounce his rights, go sign other guys, and then sign LeBron to the lower number later?
No.
Why not?
Because once you renounce the rights, you don't have the ability to exceed the salary cap to sign your player.
Correct.
Let's talk
You've
about
renounced his bird rights.
Yeah, let's talk about it in terms of $100. This is so people can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
$100, LeBron's cap hold is $65. Oof. Wow. Hard to fill out your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the Lakers are probably going to have about $100 million in cap space. Okay, LeBron takes $30. Now we're feeling a lot better about ourselves. Okay, but you can't spend the other $70. You can't spend the other $35 that you have from what LeBron's cap hold is until he's signed to that $30 contract.
Correct.
Okay. And if you say, LeBron, I have to take away all your rights, I'm not gonna have you anymore, and you take the full $65, and then you spend the $65, you then can't go and sign LeBron back. You could sign him back to like the minimum contract, but it would be just like any free agent. Let's talk about Austin. Now let's say you have $100 and Austin is going to cost you $20. Okay, his cap hold is $20. You can spend the other $80. Okay, so you've spent $80 and now you have your $20 that Austin's going to cost you. You can then sign him for $40 because you have his rights. And now you spent $120. How'd you do that? You did salary cap management. And I'm sorry that it's so complicated, but it just is. And this is why literally the best teams have 2 or 3 guys who this is their entire job. To not only manage your cap, but to know every other team's cap and say, you know what? This particular team here is going to have problems. Now that we've said all that, as I said, it's not a talk radio answer. A talk radio answer is, hell yeah, I'm giving the money to Austin Reaves. Tell LeBron to hit the bricks. But that's not reality. Reality is you have to manage that space. Now, let's talk big picture. What do the Lakers have to do to win the Western Conference? Who's in the Western Conference that you have to worry about?
You got to worry about Oklahoma City and San Antonio.
Oh, do you have to? What does San Antonio have that's better than anybody?
Wemby?
Big man. What about Denver?
Joker?
Big man.
Did you see Oklahoma City? Were they small last night?
Oh, they were monsters, dude.
Okay, you got to have a big man.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers have got to come out of this summer with a look. And there isn't a player out there who's going to come out there and be like, yep, we're holding Wemby to 10 points and 5 rebounds. But you've got to have somebody that you can put against. And by the way, Aaron Gordon might be the guy for Denver. Denver might beat San Antonio, not because of Jokic, because of Aaron Gordon. I'm not saying you got to have a 7'3" guy.
Yeah.
But you got to have an answer for big men. The Lakers don't have it. So
haven't had it. I mean, really, since Anthony Davis when he was healthy.
So yes, they have to manage what they sign Austin for. Yes, they have to manage what they sign LeBron for. Yes, they have to figure out Kennard and what they're going to do with Hachimura and all that stuff. They have got to emerge this summer with somebody as a big man that they can say we can go. I mean, if you want to finish 5th, you can, get some middle of the road guy but you've got the perimeter. The perimeter is going to be awesome. Regardless of what happens with LeBron, they're going to have a top 5 player in Luka on their perimeter, and they're going to have Austin Reaves, who's an excellent player, borderline all-star. They're going to be good. They've got to figure out the big man spot. So it's fun and interesting and engaging to talk about what you're going to do with LeBron and Reaves. Tell me who they're going to get to play center.
Let me ask both of you guys a question. George, let me ask you a quick question. Okay, let's say the 3 of us are in a war room, an NBA war room, right? And you've got every player listed in the entire NBA. And then you say, these are going to be the guys that are going to be the available big men for next year. And you say, okay, if Wemby's the best big man there is, and Oklahoma City's got a monster in Chet Holmgren, and they've also got another one in Hartenstein, right? If we could find one guy that could compete with the size that Oklahoma City and San Antonio have, can you guys, if you had a list, can you give us a couple of names that you go, hey, these are going to be available big men that can compete with these guys?
So let me just say, keep in mind, because I think fans will think, well, who's available as a free agent? You don't have to use cap space just on free agents. You can use cap space on teams that need to offload salaries. Or
Correct.
You can trade those first-round picks that you have for a player and take his salary back because you've got cap space.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, this is what your strategy people have to know, and your scouts and your information people. You've got to know which players out there could become available. Let me give you an example of a player who could become available. Not that I think this is what's going to happen, okay? What happens if the Cavs lose in the first round of the playoffs? And they have to retrofit
they're going to blow that thing up.
Would Jared Allen be available? And,
Yes.
And that's an if and if. That's if they lose, if. I'm not even sure if he's available that the Lakers would be able to trade for him. But this is the type of situation that you would have to look for. A team that is retrofitting something. And so the Lakers' most important moves could happen before free agency even begins. What's going to happen with LeBron? What contract can you get him into? Can you do a deal around the draft? These are big questions. And this is what Rob and his front office have to be working on already. JJ is trying to figure out how they're going to squeeze 2 more wins out of this week. I don't know if they can do it. Last night, they obviously decided to go into punt formation on. The moves that he was making last night were aimed at the rest of this week. Different topic. Rob Pelinka every day is to be thinking about who am I drafting and who can I possibly try to acquire in the summer. That's what he's thinking about. That's his thing. And that's what is going to be on the table, is on the plate for the Lakers, and that's where the tough decisions are going to be.
Let me ask you a question, Brian. And again, this is just reckless speculation. This is not, anything other than that. The Thunder are going to be up against one of the aprons, I believe, next year, right?
Yeah.
So is a guy like Isaiah Hartenstein
Yeah.
a possibility, not just for the Lakers, for anybody, really?
Yeah. Hartenstein has a team option for next year. I would be stunned if they didn't pick it up. But the Thunder are going to run out of apron space very soon. The thing about the Thunder is the way they've structured everything, because they're extremely shrewd and their strategy department kills it. They're really not going to be squeezed until the 27, 28 year. Next year, they're going to be in the luxury tax and they're going to face some difficulty. They're really going to be squeezed in 27, 28. Unfortunately, Isaiah is going into the last year of his contract. You don't want a guy going to the last year of his contract. You risk losing him for nothing. So the Thunder are going to have to consider extending Hartenstein or Stein or trading him. I think just leaving it alone is going to be a risk of a dice they're not going to do. So Hartenstein potentially could be available. That's a guy you're keeping an eye on.
But just a guess here. Oklahoma City going to make a move and make a trade
Unlikely.
to bring that player to the Lakers?
Very unlikely.
Right. See, that's like trading a guy inside your division.
Luka's in this weird spot where he's not going to be able to get the 65-game threshold. And I know they're appealing it because at least one of the games he missed because of the birth of his child. I don't know how that's going to go necessarily, but he's not the only one, right? You've got him, Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, all these guys that can miss out on either the MVP conversation or All-NBA, et cetera. Jokic is obviously, needs to play 2 of the next 3. Wemby has to play 1 more and at least 20 minutes in that game. Just kind of what do you make of the spirit of the rule and what the application of the rule is right now, considering everything that's unfolded?
First off, that's going to be, the arbitrator is going to rule in his favor. It's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Because he's at 64.
Yeah.
He'll
be first-team All-NBA.
Mm-hmm.
What is the purpose of the rule? The purpose of the rule is what, George?
Is to mitigate guys resting for load management.
Right. It's working. I know it's very controversial. I know people are upset about it. These players are bending themselves into pretzels to play more games. That's what the league wants. Bottom line. Jokic has had 1 game to spare for a couple of months. He's played in every game.
Mm-hmm. That's
what the league wants. Now, you can bring on sports science people. You can bring on trainers. You can say this isn't good because of this, blah, blah, blah. They can all be right. I'm just telling you, the league wants the players to play. Cade Cunningham is probably against doctor's orders coming back to play games this weekend. Just, the league wants.
But wait, is that because of the money that's associated with the honors?
Well, nobody trying to do it this year has money on the line. In some years, yeah, like last year, the threshold is 20 minutes. You have to play 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What was Tyrese Halliburton's injury
Wasn't it a calf injury that turned into an Achilles?
Was it a calf injury?
All right, well, okay.
It was a calf during the season, yes.
Right. He had come back and he was playing in 20 minutes and 1 second. They were yanking him out of the game.
Oh, man.
So that he could hit his bonus, which I think he got. He did get. So, that is a situation where he was absolutely doing it for the money. And, it benefited the organization, frankly, to sit him, to not pay him that money. But, what are you going to tell your star player? We don't want you to be paid. So, they did it. And there's a bunch of games that Tyrese Halliburton played. I'm sure some of them were national TV games. I don't know off the top of my head. It's getting players to play in games. It may be risking their health a little bit, but ultimately, the NBA wants the star players to be playing in the games. And that's what they're getting.
So does Luka have money on the line? If he's
No.
So he would not make any additional money if he were first team All
Not
NBA.
in his NBA salary. I know Shams reported yesterday that Giannis missed out on a Nike bonus.
On a Nike.
Because he didn't hit a certain games played threshold.
gotcha.
But in terms of NBA money, there could be and will be some years where that will matter. But in this particular year, there's no player who's got a contracted bonus that we're talking about. So that's none of this is these guys want it for the honor of the awards, which, by the way, anytime you hear a guy say, I don't care about awards, look actions over words. Look at what they're doing. You know, Jokic doesn't care. Okay, well then once your seat is set, sit out. Maybe he will. Maybe he will sit out, but I bet he doesn't because I do think he cares. And actions over words show.
Interesting.
The question is, do you believe LeBron in what he says here?
I know I have the ability to be put in any position that can fit a team win, even if it's taking away some of the things I've always done.
Yeah.
Having a little injury that I had, watching the team play and watching the team have some success, I'm sitting back and I'm like, AR and Luka look like they're just playing free. They look like when LeBron is not playing, they don't have to feel like they have to cater to me and make me feel a part of it or have to get me the ball, and it throws them out of rhythm. When I was making my way back and when I was coming back to the lineup, I went to both of them and I said, listen, don't worry about me on the floor. Whatever mindset y'all been in while I was not playing, just stay there. Be aggressive. Y'all got the ball in y'all hands. I will figure it out. Don't confuse it. I will figure it out. And I text JJ and I text one of our assistant coaches. I told him I want to talk to them too. And I told him, I will figure it out. I'm a winner and I know what I can do for this ball club in order for us to win and for those guys to be the best that they can be.
So the question is not because that's what he did do. The question isn't what that's what was seen. The question is whether you think it was his idea. That's what the
No. Do you believe he went up and did what he said he did?
That he went and talked to JJ first and then
talked to Austin and Luka.
I have no doubt the conversations took place. Whose idea it was, that I'm not sure about. He says it's his idea, and typically in a situation, like if you're a coach for 5 seconds or 5 years or 5 decades, you're going to make your star player look like anything was his idea, especially if it's a shrunken role. But I don't know, George. I don't know. But if that's the way it needs to be, anybody could have watched this team and said that 2 of the 3 when they play are it's good. By the way, sometimes it's when LeBron was playing. When LeBron and Luka would play, or LeBron and Reaves would play, they would be good. It wasn't a revolutionary idea that there needed to be a change with the 3 of them.
Right. And here's what I would add is that JJ the entire season, at least when he's talked to us, has reiterated these kinds of comments. It needs to be a player-led team. Those 3 need to figure it out. They can't just be taking turns. This is well before everybody was healthy. Because we kept asking him, what does it look like when those guys are actually healthy, if they can get healthy? And that was a constant conversation with him. So, yes, I'm sure whether he incepted the idea or whatever, or those because if he's having those conversations with us before games, he's certainly having them with his team.
Right.
And then, but the idea that the question was, did LeBron go up to Luka and Austin, and did he text JJ about it? And you believe that all happened?
Well, I believe there was some conversation, whether it was as clean as the way it was just presented. I don't know. I wasn't there. But let's just say I've seen situations like this in the past when a star player is taking a back seat, and everything works out better when the star player looks like it's his idea. If football happens in football, happens in baseball, I don't care. And I'm not saying it wasn't his idea. I'm just
Right,
saying
because Greg doesn't believe he actually went up to Luka and Austin.
Bernie,
and
why
had the
don't you present your
He's
side?
actually
here?
laughing at the idea that he said he did that.
No, I don't believe that he went up to Austin and Luka and said, hey, you guys do your thing. I think he actually sat there and he watched just like everybody else, like you're saying, and saw they're playing free, they're playing better, and that I know I have to get mine, and he is a winner and he can do all that.
And when I
but I
come
don't
back,
think he talked to them.
And when I come back, don't just defer to me. Don't just say, hey.
He said, don't cater to me.
Don't cater. Cater is the better word. Don't cater me. I think LeBron sat on the bench for the 3 games that he was out that they won. This was the beginning of the winning streak, the 9-game winning streak. I think LeBron sat on the bench and went, those guys are playing loose. They're playing free. They're having fun. They're winning. And guess what? When I'm on the floor, they look uptight. They look like they're catering to me out of respect. So guess what? I'm now going to come back and go, hey, guys, keep on doing what you're doing. I'll fit in for you. You don't have to defer to me. Does that seem reasonable to you?
I believe that. I mean, did he walk up and have like a 5-paragraph essay with supporting paragraphs? What he
doesn't need to do that.
Did Rich Paul do anything in all this? Did anybody have a script?
Oh, my God. I don't know.